Let me ask you a question that might seem strange at first. What if your financial struggles have very little to do with your intelligence and everything to do with your personal history? What if the reason you worry about money, or can't seem to save it, or are terrified of investing, is not a flaw in your logic but a ghost from your past? This is the first and perhaps most profound door that Morgan Housel opens in The Psychology of Money. He makes a compelling case that no one is truly crazy with their money. Every single one of us operates with a unique financial blueprint, drawn invisibly by the economy we grew up in, the money habits we witnessed in our parents, and our first formative experiences with wealth or the lack of it. Imagine two people. One person witnessed their parents lose everything in a stock market crash. That event, that story, becomes a core part of their financial DNA. They will likely be conservative, fearful of debt, and see the market as a dangerous casino. Another person saw their family build wealth steadily through real estate. Their story tells them that property is the ultimate safe haven. Now put these two people in a room together to discuss money. They will look at each other and think the other is being completely irrational. But from within their own stories, their actions make perfect sense. The goal, then, is not to find the one perfect universal financial truth. The goal is to have the humility to understand that you are looking at the world through a lens shaped by your own past. Before you make any big financial decision, you must ask yourself, is this decision based on current evidence? Or is it a reaction to an old story, an old fear? Recognizing the ghost is the first step to quieting its voice.
In our pursuit of success, we love to believe in a simple formula: hard work plus talent equals results. But life is not a clean equation. Woven into the fabric of every outcome are two powerful, invisible threads: luck and risk. Think of the most successful person you know. Now consider the role of luck in their journey. Maybe they were in the right place at the right time. Maybe they met a crucial mentor by chance. Maybe they avoided a random accident that could have derailed everything. This isn't to diminish their hard work, but to introduce a necessary humility. For every grand success story that makes the headlines, there is an equally talented, equally hard-working person for whom a random event, a simple twist of bad risk, meant their efforts never came to fruition. Understanding this changes everything. It makes you less arrogant in your own successes and more compassionate in judging the failures of others. So if we can't control luck and risk, what can we control? We can control our time horizon. This is where Housel introduces one of the most powerful concepts: the magic of compounding. But we often think of compounding only in terms of money. The real trick is to compound our good behavior over time. The patient investor who consistently saves and never panics is not necessarily a genius. They are just a master of good behavior repeated over decades. The true key to building wealth is not finding a brilliant, complex strategy, but in possessing the immense emotional stamina to let a simple strategy work for a very, very long time. It's about earning a few percent, year after year, and surviving. The financial game isn't about winning big in short bursts. It's about staying in the game so long that the slow, relentless force of compounding can do its miraculous work for you. Being rich and being wealthy, and this distinction is at the very soul of the book. Being rich is about having a high current income. It's about the visible display of money. The new car, the big house, the luxury watch. Being wealthy, on the other hand, is what you don't see. It's the hidden assets, the unspent money. Wealth is financial assets that have been accumulated and preserved, giving you freedom and options for the future. The world is filled with people who are rich but have no wealth, because they spend everything they earn to maintain a rich lifestyle. And then there are the truly wealthy, who may not look it from the outside. The book tells the unforgettable story of a man named Ronald Reed, a janitor and gas station attendant who, upon his death, left a secret fortune of over $8 million. How? He wasn't a high-flying investor. He simply lived frugally, spent less than he earned, and invested the difference in blue-chip stocks which he held on to for decades. He mastered the skill of staying wealthy. His wealth was not in his job title or his possessions, but in his immense freedom and security. This leads us to the most important word in the entire financial lexicon: enough. In a world that constantly screams at you to want more, the most destructive force is moving the goalposts of your own satisfaction. The person with $10 million feels poor when they compare themselves to someone with $100 million. The hardest financial skill is to decide, consciously and deliberately, what is enough for you: enough money, enough status, enough possessions, and then to have the fortitude to stop there. Because if you don't define your enough, you are sentenced to a lifetime of running on a hamster wheel, chasing a phantom that will always remain just out of reach, while sacrificing your time, your peace, and your relationships along the way. So what is the end goal of all this? If we manage to understand our past, respect the roles of luck and risk, practice patience, and define our enough, what do we actually get? The answer is that we get the ultimate dividend, which is not a cash payment, but peace of mind and personal freedom. The highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up every morning and say, I can do whatever I want today. It is the control over your time and your attention. Money's greatest intrinsic value is this ability to give you control over your own life. The book argues that using money to buy toys and show off your status is a hollow victory. But using money to buy time, to reduce stress, to secure your family's future, and to have the flexibility to change your path is a victory that pays dividends every single day. This is the final and most important psychological shift. It's about moving from a mindset of more to a mindset of enough, from seeking validation to seeking liberation. The real benchmark for success isn't your net worth compared to your neighbors. It's the quiet confidence you feel when you look at your life, the depth of your sleep at night, and the freedom you have to spend your hours on the things and people that truly matter to you. That is the psychology of money in its purest form. It's not a science of numbers. It is an art of living well, and the final question it leaves you with is this: what kind of life do you want your money to help you build? And are you brave enough to use it not just to grow your bank account, but to grow your freedom, your peace, and your happiness? We've spoken about the freedom that comes with defining enough. But what is the force that constantly pushes that definition beyond our reach? It is the silent, relentless engine of greed. And greed, in the realm of money, is not merely a desire for more. It is a forgetting of what you already have. It's the dangerous belief that the next dollar, the next deal, the next promotion will finally be the one that brings lasting satisfaction. The book presents a stark truth. Financial success is not just about making money. It is about making sure that the money you make does not, in turn, remake you into a person you no longer recognize. There is a classic fable of the fisherman and the investment banker. The banker tells the fisherman he should work harder, buy more boats, build a huge empire, so that one day he can finally relax and enjoy a quiet afternoon fishing with his son. The fisherman, already doing exactly that, simply smiles. The parable reveals the trap of unnecessary complexity we often fall into. We chase extravagant gains, often taking on tremendous risk, to achieve a state of simple contentment that was available to us all along, for a much lower price. This is where Housel introduces a counterintuitive ally: pessimism. Not a crippling despair, but a strategic, graceful pessimism that plans for things to go wrong. Because things will go wrong. The economy will cycle through recessions. Markets will crash. Personal setbacks will occur. The wise person does not bet their entire future on everything going perfectly right. They build a plan that is resilient enough to survive when things inevitably go wrong. This pessimism is not a lack of hope. It is a form of respect for the unpredictability of the world. It is the financial equivalent of carrying an umbrella not because you are certain it will rain, but because you understand that sometimes it does. One of the most underappreciated virtues in finance and in life is the simple ability to wait. In a world of instant notifications and same-day delivery, we have been conditioned to expect immediate results. But the most profound financial outcomes are the children of patience. Compounding interest is not a force of sudden explosion. It is a force of gradual, almost imperceptible, accumulation that only reveals its true power over long, unbroken stretches of time. The problem is that our own timelines are often tragically mismatched with the market's timeline. We invest today and expect a reward tomorrow. But the market does not work on our schedule. It operates on its own chaotic, unpredictable rhythm. The key, then, is to create for yourself the most valuable asset you can own: financial flexibility. Flexibility is having enough savings to withstand a job loss without panic. It is having a lifestyle that is not so expensive that you are forced to sell your investments at a loss during a downturn. It is the ability to wait. When you have flexibility, you are not a prisoner of the present moment. You can hold on to your stocks for 10 years instead of 10 months. You can pass up a risky, desperate gamble because you have the breathing room to be patient. This flexibility is often bought by living a life that is slightly below your means. It is the conscious choice to drive a used car, to live in a modest home, not because you have to, but because the freedom that this choice unlocks, the freedom from anxiety, the freedom to be patient, the freedom to say no, is worth far more to you than the fleeting status of a luxury brand. Your greatest investing skill is not your ability to pick stocks. It is your ability to sit quietly and do nothing for years on end. And that skill is only possible if you have built a life that gives you the space to wait. In the end, our entire financial lives are not just a collection of numbers on a spreadsheet. They are a story we are writing day by day, decision by decision. And the final lesson of the psychology of money is that we should be the authors of that story, not just the characters being pushed around by its plot. The book urges us to move beyond the simplistic stories society tells us about money, that it is the ultimate scorecard, that more is always better, that you are what you own. These are shallow narratives that lead to empty victories. The richer, more fulfilling story is one where money is a tool, a quiet supporting character in the larger narrative of your life. Its purpose is to provide security for your family, to buy you the time to deepen your relationships, to allow you to pursue a curiosity without the pressure of a paycheck, to grant you the peace of mind that comes from knowing you are resilient. So, as you close this book or finish listening to this summary, the most important task begins. You must decide what story you want to tell. Do you want to tell a story of relentless hustle and golden handcuffs? Or do you want to tell a story of quiet contentment, of freedom, of a life where money was a good servant but never the master? The psychology of money is ultimately the wisdom to know the difference and the courage to write the story you truly want to live. The final question is not how much money you have in your bank account, but what story that money is helping you tell.